Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be doing a no evidence run on Tanglewood. The rewards for this settings is 8.42. I'll start out with 100 sanity, but the restoration is 0. So once the sanity is gone, we don't get it back. These are what I consider to be a little more relaxed settings, but still decent rewards. We will have the sanity monitor and the fuse box will start on, so we don't have to worry about that. This is my loadout for the solo no evidence run. 3 candles for an on-radio test. You have a parabolic mic, motion sensor for the objectives, and you could use them to identify some of the ghosts, or at least help to identify them. And let's go ahead and get into it. So normally I'll start with a flashlight, photo cam, and thermo. Sometimes I go with EMF instead of thermo, just depends on my mood. Since we're starting with the power breaker on, the house is already warm. So basically we'd look for just a slightly cooler temperature. But the ghost here is going to go ahead and let us know where he's at. Cool. Interaction. So that first photo counted as an interaction. So we'll take a second photo. Get that dirty water. One of the first things I like to do is turn on the lights, especially in the looping spots like the kitchen and garage. Because you can loop the ghosts around the van, and you can loop it around the kitchen island as well. I see we have the tarot cards over here. I don't really like messing with the tarot cards too much. We'll pull one just for the heck of it. Alright, well, we learned a little something there. You saw that was an air ball, the air ball that floated towards me. That means it's just not going to be an Oni. Onis are not capable of doing those airball events. Turn this light back on. And let's try to find the bone. So on these settings, I also have no hiding spaces, so no closets, things like that. So that's why it's even more important for me to have the lights turned on in my looping spots. So if it's a ghost that hunts unexpectedly, you want to have a place you can go to. I normally play these types of games in a fairly structured way. Normally I start off doing the first object, bone, ghost room, and then kind of start doing tests from there. Because later in the game, once your sanity starts to get lower and lower, the ghost gets more aggressive. It can be harder to find those things. Oh, there we go. Let's see what the ghost room is. It's not the foyer. It's not the boys' room. Looks like it's going to be the bathroom. Probably. I mean, it's much colder. It might still be cooling down, because that's a little bit higher than I would like it to be. Yeah, looks like it's just going to be the bathroom, probably. So now that I know where the ghost room is, what I like to do is get my crucifixes in there. And we're still sitting at 80% sanity. And we need to get a motion sensor as well. Might as well take one now. ghost is in there. I'll place one crucifix there. And I spread my crucifixes out. That way they cover more distance. I like to put crucifixes that cover my route of escape. So if I'm standing over here investigating this ghost, I don't want it to hunt that way, because that's where I plan on running to. But I like to have one crucifix where the ghost is, and the other crucifix covering my path of escape. Next thing we can do is take our 3 candles in there. And this will be for the Onryo test. So we'll put these by the crucifixes. And if the ghost blows out all 3 of these without hunting, then it is non-Onryo. A couple of salt. And we'll take the video camera to check for mimic orbs, because even on no evidence games, the mimic will always have orbs. Small rooms like this can kind of be hard to check for orbs sometimes. You can't get a good view of the inside. Alright, that's the first candle. Oops. Go ahead and run with it. That was the second candle. So what I'm doing now is setting up a poltergeist test. Some people like to do these where the ghost is. I prefer to do them in the looping spot, because it'll let the ghost run circles around this pile. And you'll see how much they throw during their hunt. Okay, so we are now able to cross off 2 more ghosts. 1 stepped in that salt there, but it's not a wraith. 2, it blew out all 3 of those candles, which is next to the crucifix. That means it is not an Onryo. Onryos will immediately hunt after blowing out 3 flames. EMF. Go ahead and grab one of those. And I'll start getting some smudges in there. Alright. So you notice how the ghost turned the power off? That means this is not a djinn. Djinns are not able to turn off a power breaker. Okay, so we have all 3 of our objectives. I need to try to get some more photos. I like to stack my salt in piles of 3. That way you can just take three photos of the same pile. counts as different pictures. A ghost photo is worth the most, but sometimes it can be hard to get. So, I'll take what I got. This ghost hasn't really been showing itself too much so far. Now that the photos are done, the objectives are done, the last thing... of course it shows itself as soon as I fill my book. But now that the photos are done, the objectives are done, the last thing we need to do is identify the ghost. So, we've already knocked off a few of them. We want to try to get a hunt to figure out some more. The reason I moved that motion sensor is to try to see if it's like a stalking ghost, like a banshee or a phantom. They'll roam to wherever you are. So we're at 68% sanity. I already have 3 smudges on me. Where's my lighter? Must have thrown it down somewhere. Hello? Lighter? Surely it's somewhere in this pile, right? There it is. That wouldn't have been fun. Alright, leave that one there. And we'll grab the last one. Alright. One thing left to do now is let our sanity drain. Try to get a hunt, see what we can learn from that. And I'll go ahead and fast forward so you can skip the boring part. And while we wait for the hunt, I'm going to go ahead and mark off demon. Demons are usually pretty aggressive hunters. This thing hasn't tried to hunt once yet, so it's probably not a demon. Sure does sound like this thing's throwing a lot of stuff, though. Well, it tried to hunt, finally, but, guess I forgot a crucifix over there. Whoops. There we go. That should solve that problem. And moving them over here by me also prevents the ghost from hunting on top of me and instantly snapping my neck. Okay, so one thing we're really focusing on right now is the speed of the ghost. Listen to its speed. So what I noticed there is that ghost seemed very fast. However, there was some variance in the speed. In other words, there were some times where it was slower. It sounded like for a brief period. So I'm going to turn off this. I'm going to turn off this. I want to make sure there's no electronics on. Also, turn on that candle, I guess. So, not a mirror. So a ghost going that speed, but also changing speed. Would it mean that this is either a Raiju or Hantu? Now, it sounded like it was kind of fast all over the house. But I couldn't tell if it left its ghost area or not. Okay, yeah, you hear how it's slower now? Now let's see if it speeds up when it... Oh yeah, it speeds up. Interesting. I think the reason it sped up maybe... Did it catch something? This is why you want to make sure you have your lights on, your looping spaces. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it seems to me that the... Oh, hello. It seems to me that speed variance is based on electronics. It seemed like... Oh, man. This is an angry ghost. One thing I really don't understand is that it seemed... got really fast in here as well earlier. And I don't have an explanation for that. I don't see electronics being on. Unless it picked up that camera. But those should be off as well. And this is turned off. So sometimes you get ghosts that... You can run some more testing on. I'm trying to understand what's making this ghost change speed. Because I believe it should be a Raiju. But it's still increasing speed at times. It doesn't make sense to me. Particularly in the garage earlier. Okay. So right now it's a normal speed. Normal speed, normal speed. Turn this on. Turn it off. Normal. Turn it on. Probably out of range of it. Fast. Yeah. Yep. So that's the kind of testing you can do to help narrow it down. if you have an idea what you think it could be. So there, we gave it a few hunts. We made sure all the electronics were turned off around the house. And then we even tested within that same hunt using that flashlight on and off. And you could tell the difference in the speed. All right. Well, once again, the objectives are done. Photos are complete. We captured the bone. And we're going to go ahead and mark Raiju as this ghost. We're marking Raiju because it gained a lot of speed when it was around electronics that were turned on. Let's get out of here. There you have it. A Raiju.
I've got some jobs ready for you.
All right. Got $4,000. Of course, that was with a bonus. Without that, it'd be $3,500. That's typically what perfect games are on the no event settings that I use. About $3,500. So it's not too bad. Here's a summary. And here's the statistics. If you want to pause and take a look at anything. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.